Oh, cancers, you miserable crybaby, manipulative. No, I'm just playing. Don't cry. Don't cry. Okay, I know. I was just teasing. I'm a cancer myself. I'm a male cancer, which is actually probably the friggin' worst sign that you can have as a male. Sorry, not sorry to all my male cancer bros out there. But Cancer is a very feminine sign, if not the most feminine sign. So a Cancer male like myself has to overcome a lot of different challenges. Just as a quick antidote, I'll kind of explain a little bit about myself. Not saying I'm full of myself or anything, because I'm definitely not that. I'm super humble. No, that's a joke. Anyway, I grew up being bullied by women. I grew up getting bullied a lot, actually, especially by guys too. But when I was very, very young, like preschool, I would get bullied by like girls. And in fact, I was actually one of the smallest kids in the class, because cancers, especially when they're born, the Chinese Zodiac, for example, they attribute it to the rabbit, or a lot of the time they're attributed with crabs. These are small animals. So when cancers, which represent a lot of maternal or motherly existence, when they are kind of put to when they're kind of born and they're put to the test in their youth, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of like hardship for a lot of cancers, which is why a lot of cancer people actually turn out to be either total pieces of crap, manipulative crybaby losers, or they end up turning out to be extremely intelligent hard workers who end up providing for a lot of people around them. And it's kind of, from my experience, it's kind of just a double wide. Like there's no way to get around how I want to say this, because I am a cancer. So nobody take this personally, especially if you're a guy. But you either are a good cancer or a bad cancer. And I mean, even the name cancer is a horrible name. And of course, the disease came later on. But there's a reason why they named the disease what they did, because cancer rules parts of the chest, the blood flow of the body, and how we get the disease cancer is from when our cells smother or mother other cells. Okay, so the two biggest killers in the world are cancer and heart disease, regardless of where you live. Cancer is literally when you're not living in tandem with the moon. You get cancer when you're not living in tandem with the lunar cycles, or the sacred secretion again. And that is why cancer is ruled by the moon specifically. Cancer is the most maternal, the most feminine. It's actually the ruler of all of the water signs. And if I forgot to mention this, Taurus is the ruler of all the earth signs. Leo is the ruler of all the fire signs, and Gemini is the ruler of all the air signs. So yes, the spring signs, the beginning creator signs, these are considered the rulers of their respective signs, except for Aries, of course, because Aries is the child of the zodiac, whereas Leo is the refurbished fire. But we'll get into that in a second. Cancer rules the chest. A lot of the ribs, which we have 12 ribs. The parts of the stomach, the diaphragm, the womb, and parts of the pancreas and the spleen. And it has like this rulership in this area, which is close to our mid-center, but it's in our upper mid-center chest, or the breasts. That's the big thing with a lot of cancer energy. You will find a lot of female cancer specifically will have well-endowed breasts. That could also be a complete opposite thing too. They can also be completely flat-chested, and there's no judgment here. Nobody cares. But again, there's a lot of very funny things with cancers, and we'll get into kind of how they look in a second. A lot of cancers are described as being caring, protective, and empathetic. Again, protective like the rib cage. So if you want to think of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini being the guys who kind of start all this stuff, and then bleed all the head parts and the neck parts down into the rest of the body, Cancer is the one that protects the body. Cancer is the one that rules the rib cage, which houses all of the other organs, all the other meat and potatoes of the lower body. And really, Cancer represents the Holy Mother, the Holy Spirit, things of that nature, right? So we'll get into a little bit here. Their negative traits, they can be very manipulative. They can be clingy, pessimistic, or even vulnerable to the wrong people. When it comes to Cancer, the important constellations and stars would be Sirius and the Canis, or the canine constellations, the big dog and the little dog. Cancer is not really well known for this, but they're actually very much so associated with dogs. Dogs are, again, they're kind of like the opposite of Leo, which would be the cat. So you have cats and dogs. Dogs, like wolves, howl at the moon. Dogs howl at the moon. And cats like to laze around in the sun. So the other animals that are associated with Cancer would be the rabbit and the elephant, as well as like the lobsters and the crabs and the crustaceans. Now the crustaceans are, of course, the hard-shelled individuals. They have a hard shell on the outside. Their skeletal structure is that shell. It's on the outside, and then the meat on the inside is what all the people want to eat, right? It's that juicy center. That's basically what cancers are. They give you this kind of rib cage-like effect where they're going to block you out until they let you in, and then they show you how loving that they actually can be. I'm speaking from personal experience here. Now, it's associated with a rabbit is because in the Chinese zodiac, because the rabbit is a white rabbit. And the moon is actually very difficult to track. If you have a telescope, it's actually the hardest planet to follow in the sky because it moves so friggin' fast. And if you've ever, like me, taken a telescope and tried to look at the moon, it moves so incredibly fast that you have to move the telescope basically every 5 minutes. And you don't really think that the moon is that fast in the sky, but it is. So astrologers back in the day were like, well, I mean, that thing moves like a white rabbit. And the other thing is, cancers are a very fertile energy. They're a mother energy. What do rabbits do? They breed like rabbits. So that's another reason why. And also, Cancer is very cute. It's Cancer is actually one of the ugliest signs, or it's one of the cutest signs. It's very hard to call a Cancer sexy, I think, and I'm speaking as a Cancer. They have a very charming allure to them. It's not like a Scorpio kind of sexual energy. It's very much so like a very loving, maternal, family-oriented energy. Like, I want to have a family with that person or whatever, you know? So that's just like my little spiel on Cancer. Now, if you look for Cancer in the sky, it kind of looks like this little lobster shape. It does, for whatever reason, it doesn't look like its sigil. The sigil of Cancer, which is the 69, that represents a womb or breasts or the ever-flowing duality of the yin-yang. It's the aspect of the Holy Mother which keeps our entire cosmos in balance. It's the womb of space. And that is why the star Sirius is very important in this sign of Cancer. This is why Cancer rules the other water signs, being Scorpio and Pisces, because Isis, the star, is associated in the big dog of Canis Major. Again, Canis, Canine, etc., Cancer. The star Isis is the Holy Mother star. It's the star Sirius, which is where we get the word Isis, or the star Sirius is where we get the word Isis, yeah, actually. So Sirius, like, it's a very serious star because it's our Holy Mother star. There's a reason why our sun is called a sun, because the sun that we have is in a binary or a trinary star system. I hear a lot of people say it's potentially a trinary with Methuselah, I believe, the third being the third star, I believe, in Libra. But either way, Cancer, very important star, very important energy, and it is in a binary at the very least with our sun, which is why we call our sun the sun, because our sun is the sun of the paternal aspect, and Sirius is the mother star, which is the maternal aspect. Okay, so and the moon, of course, is a rock which represents that star Sirius, actually. So a lot of ancient people believed that Sirius even gave the moon its energy, not the sun. But regardless, we'll get into that another time. Looking at Cancers, you'll see that they are very pale. They have very round cheeks. They have these big, kind of, a lot of the time white faces, white skin, very bright in their pigmentation, and then they are also they got these big round moon faces. They're very susceptible to gaining weight because weight gain is associated a lot of the time with mucus, and Cancer is one of the more mucusy signs. And why is that? Because mucus is actually our white blood cells. That's what white blood cells are mainly made up of. It's basically crap. It's basically like pus. So mucus is not a bad thing necessarily. You actually do need mucus in order to survive. However, mucus is associated with weight gain. So cancers actually can put on weight better than probably any other sign. Maybe even next to Taurus. Both those signs are pretty big with weight gain. But I think this is Ariana Grande and Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, you can see he's somewhat subtly manipulative, and Ariana Grande is this big maternal figure who's going around dating all these dudes, and none of them are good for her, and she sings about it and blah blah blah. I don't even know. I don't know a lot of Ariana Grande songs. Sorry, people, but the point I'm getting at is this: they have this energy where they don't have to be the most important person in the room. People designate them as the most important person in the room because they have this energy about them. But they're also very manipulative. They can come off as very moody, somewhat immature at certain points. Super manipulative, though. I mean, I can tell you as a Cancer, I've met a lot of Cancer males. They are like mega manipulative. I've tried to keep that in check my entire life. Ever since I've learned how, cancers can be manipulative. So I know I can be manipulative, but what I try to do is I try to spin the tables so that other people are happy. I just want people to be happy. It's a very loving aspect, but sometimes cancers can be very selfish and they want to manipulate people for their own negative reasons. So that's something to keep in mind and to watch out for with cancers. Oh yeah, I should also mention that cancers are known for having immaculate memories, which is why the elephant is oftentimes associated with cancer, because elephants have great memories. And they also do a lot of bathing under the moonlight. They have a lot of these weird moon rituals for people who have studied elephants. And elephants, an elephant can kill a lion easily. In fact, elephants and rhinos maybe are probably the only two things in like the Sahara or the savannah or wherever lions lurk. They're probably one of the only things that can actually stand up to a lion, but they don't, because elephants are actually quite maternal animals. They don't go running around and stomping on people or killing people unless they're young or in danger. But a lion most of the time will not try to screw with an elephant unless there's a whole pack of them and they can take one down for food. But a lot of the time they don't do that. Elephants just kind of stay away from lions and vice versa. So it's a very interesting dichotomy.